good food actually.
Amazing.
A lot of bars we tried out in
Yeah.
Dusseldorf.
Yeah.
We went for a bar crawl
Yeah.
one night.
Yeah.
Correct. Pankaj was the last man standing almost.
Yeah, both of us were.
Both of the last
Last
man
one.
standing.
No, it was good fun. Yeah, I think we made lots of memories and
Yeah.
some are in my phone. But it was
Let them be there.
let them be there. So I think when I think about how Shiprocket actually came about, it was a series of things that didn't work.
Okay.
Right? When we initially started, we were not even thinking of this as a full product. This was just a feature in the original product, Shiprocket, then a slightly better feature in Craftly, and there were lots of learnings.
Yeah.
But really, I don't think this kind of product can be started without doing that stuff. I don't know what you guys think, but
No, I think absolutely. I think that the vision never changed, right? Whether it was Shiprocket, Craftly, or Shiprocket, the idea was always about making e-commerce easier, right? It's just that we tried different angles to make e-commerce easier, and this is the one that stuck. And I think the learning that came from Shiprocket and from Shiprocket and Craftly today, all of it is it's coming back full circle, right? So a lot of the stuff that we built earlier is now coming back into Shiprocket.
Yeah.
Shiprocket is the first thing that stuck, and now a lot of those other features are now coming back into the Shiprocket product as well. So I think the fact that the mission hasn't wavered for the last 10 years is what's made Shiprocket Shiprocket.
almost 11.
Almost.
Actually, this is a very unique origination for Shiprocket, right? Because even as growth investors, this is one of the rare cases where we have been part of the journey to see the evolution of Shiprocket and how it came to being, which was actually very rewarding and very interesting journey in itself, right? Because it's the way it evolved, that's what makes it unique and so true to the Indian problem. So that's actually quite fascinating to watch.
So I think I still remember the first time we met in the Noida office. At that time, Akshay, you were not there. Sahil, Gautam and Vishesh were there, and Rohit and I met you guys, and at that time you were building Shiprocket, and we had a really good meeting. We really liked you guys, but we thought that the Shiprocket business per se was not as complex as we would have liked it to be. And one thing which is very interesting is a lot of investors shy away from investing in complex businesses. For us, we love complex businesses. And to that effect, while we did not say yes to you guys immediately, I remember Rajan from Nirvana, where we are also LPs, showed us the Craftly app without naming which company was that. And that was kind of a decoy way of kind of getting us interested. And when he showed us that product, he said, listen, this is what now the Shiprocket team is building, and hence putting all of that together looks like a more platformish approach versus just a product approach. That intrigued us a lot, and that got us to kind of start spending time with you guys, understanding what you try to build, and I must say the journey has been just fabulous.
You guys know we hacked that product in 30 days, right?
Which one is that?
The one you saw. It was done in 30 days.
And that's the superpower that we backed.
That's actually now to think of it, that's the best pitch deck you can make. Make a product rather than a deck.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we did.
By the way, we can easily tell you that you would be one of the top companies in our portfolio which is as data centric as you guys are. In fact, you've kind of become a benchmark for us as we evaluate other companies, and we give examples of you guys, without of course disclosing exactly what you've done, on how to be more data centric, and that's probably been a very amazing journey that we have kind of witnessed on your part.
Sometimes it's good to suck at something because then you overwork towards fixing it, right? Overcompensate. But see, on the diligence side, from our side, I think it was. I'll tell you, for us, it's also the team. I'll be very honest with you, because end of the day, we realize it's like a marriage. It is a marriage, and if you're unable to be slightly vulnerable, even at early stages of engagement, right? it's not a good thing, because then you know you'll never be able to open up to the person in front of you. And hats off to both of you guys, you actually brought that comfort. Whether it was with all our luncheons at your office or there always has to be food, right?
Yeah, food is important, as you
Food
see
is
over
very
here.
important. Or Rohit's sort of, you know, helping hand to say, yeah, theek hai, you don't have this, but that gives you a little bit of confidence in the person, saying, okay, they won't jump the moment something goes wrong, but they've actually got up. And that proved true many times over, right? Or the persona build up. So I think
session for that.
So I think for us that was a big one, where we felt this sort of, you know, alignment. And then also we're a bit business first, right? While we understand product, scale, all of those things are important, but eventually we like the fact that we were quizzed a lot on how does it make money, when will it make money, what are the trade-offs, all the right business questions that we would ask ourselves as a team were all being asked, versus, you know, just vanity stuff. So I think for us that too was a big green flag to say, okay, well, they think like us, they're asking us the right questions, and they'll steer us, you know, in the right direction, as opposed to kind of you know, something that we don't want to do, for example. So I think it was, you know, obviously at that time it felt like the world was crashing on our heads, because we just were scrambling for data day and night. But you know, now I look at other diligences, it was pretty simple actually. We just didn't have the data, and that was our problem. So I think we had a lot of context from Rajan, and we had met Pankaj a couple of times as Nirvana's LP as well. Had not hung out as much, but because we met a few times before we kind of got to the actual engagement. So we had spent some time with each other, right?
There's significant comfort here.
Yeah, there was a lot of comfort there. I think Rajan, who was already there in the company for a while, that brought a lot of comfort as well, because, you know, they had been working with him for some time. So I think we just hit it off. Like we met each other and it seemed very comfortable, you know. Honestly, we didn't really do any other external diligence, to be honest, and we didn't even know we were supposed to, but we didn't at the time. So the goal of the company has always been to make it easier for merchants to do business. You know, we are a big supporter of direct commerce, independent businesses, micro businesses, and how they can power their own transactions and not be attached to like a demand aggregator. So I think that's the very objective definition of what we have been trying to do for 11 years and want to do for the next, you know, few decades, right? Now within that, I think what's happened is we found a big void in the shipping infrastructure part of the transaction a couple of years ago, or 3-4 years ago. Built that stack to some degree, and now we are finding that it's not just shipping, but really the entire post-purchase experience for consumers and for merchants is pretty broken. You know, while larger marketplaces can do a good job of utilizing data, utilizing supply chain, workflows, software, and all of that to sort of come together, when you talk about independent businesses and the tools and the, you know, stacks that they have available to their disposal, at least in India, it's just not there. So I think that is a sort of like a midterm opportunity as well as a goal for Shiprocket to try and really power multiple parts of that sort of post-purchase transaction. And you know, we are very excited by it because it's like a repeat of what we did with Shiprocket in many ways. You know, a lot of this is not there. And that is the exciting part for us, which is the power of creation, you know, the power of building from scratch.
If an individual with certain investment and some creativity wants to start a business outside just his home, any resources that he might need should be available at his disposal by what we are building. So it's that way, just promoting that digital entrepreneurship by all the products we are building, be it supply chain or marketing or, you know, just by data of saying what to sell online or sourcing. That's a larger picture, but yeah.
India that way is changing for the better, where like a few years ago it was all about let us just own and do everything, right? Versus you would look at the US, because the market depth was pretty high, where there were lots of great vertical plays available, and then vertical players were available, ecosystem players were also available, and then that's how the market became vibrant. I think India is now sort of entering into that stage where there is the depth available, there is the sort of dollars available, if you will, to build the ecosystem, and we very much want to build it from that lens to say, look, how do we get all of these enablers onto one platform? Because ultimately we are solving merchant backwards. We are saying, what does a merchant need? Can I be the best in everything? No. But can I combine what's there in the market and build a truly kind of connected platform? So the merchant is always winning. I think that continues to inform our mission and sort of how we build.
Yeah. I think Bertelsmann there has also been important for us, right? Because dealing with this level of ambiguity, where it's nice to say there's no global benchmark. It's nice to say that we're not stereotyped into a particular segment, but it creates a lot of ambiguity as you go along the journey, right? I remember our initial board meetings used to be helter-skelter. It was complete chaos, right? Because just explaining to each other, and we were just discussing that this morning actually, right? And I think there you need patient investors who are going to allow you to find that path. Whereas if you get investors on or partners on who are just going to typecast you and want to stereotype you into something, into a mold on day zero, we would have ended up building something very, very different today had we gotten those initial partners versus the initial partners we got.
No, I think it's extremely important. It's also very important to be frank with each other. I've seen so many board meetings where Pankaj and Rohit would be on completely different sides of the table. That brings honesty, right? Saying, okay, well, we're debating the point, right? It doesn't matter who's representing who, it doesn't make a difference, right? And I think sort of being patient with us, I think was very important. So we've been around the merry-go-round a little bit in the beginning, and I completely understand how anybody can lose their patience over that. So, and also I think forcing us almost, or not forcing us, I guess, but getting us to think strategically, very important. I think that was a big thing that Bertelsmann brought to the table, just in terms of not just like business planning and operational planning and all that, but it's really about, well, do you have network effects? Do you have data scale? What do you have? How will you stop incumbents from coming into this? Asking those hard questions that we just didn't even think about while we were building early stage. And then really kind of continuing to ask them again and again and again, whether it's concentration or kind of slowly asking us to build a plan to solve for concentration when we never even thought it was a thing to solve for. So I think some of that has been immensely useful, where at least someone had our back saying, fine, they're building this great. Here are 5 risks that we perceive, but then also not burdening us with that every month saying, oh, what happened? But rather kind of subliminally making sure that something is happening on it, and then we know at the right time. It was very helpful.
It's been a great journey. All journeys have ups and downs, and we have kind of fought all of the crazy stuff together, and we have seen some amazing highs also. And again, we are at the passenger seats, you guys are the driver seats as you were building it, but it's been a really true partnership, and the most amazing thing for us, of course, we'll all make money as the company becomes successful, and we all build on a mission that we have all kind of started doing things together. But more importantly, I think outside of all of that, for us, I think we have all truly become very strong friends. And that will last much longer than any company that would last, or any investment that would last.
Yes.
So from that perspective, we have various memorable kind of events, right from Diwali parties that you guys host. And these Diwali parties are not office parties. I want to put that out. This is family affairs. Our families now know each other very well. We've had some amazing trips together. The latest one being the Germany trip. Oktoberfest. It was a very memorable trip, and I hope that we can do probably one trip a year, something together, which was just amazing. I mean, with families, without families, all of that is all okay.
We've had our share of failures and ups and downs in the business, and I think there's lots of learnings, to be honest, and a few that at least come to my mind immediately are things like focus. I know some of these sound very cliche, but trust me, they are very underrated. Being able to focus on one thing at one time. So, somebody gave me some advice that right now you're trying to do a little bit of everything for everyone, and that's just an extremely bad strategy. It's better to do a lot of things for a very small set of people and then take it from there. And I think that completely changed, how we thought about the business, how we thought about the model. So my advice is to think big and do small. I mean, I've said it earlier at another forum, but really now when I think back, that if I had told myself that yes, think big, but really execute on something really small, go deep, build it well, and then kind of move on, or you'll end up spreading yourself too thin too early.
On choosing capital, and I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of founder friends and other folks, and the stories I've heard, it's actually a super important one to have the right kind of people by your side. And I've had people share their stories, and from what I've heard, I think we have been really blessed and lucky to see when times were good or bad, we've had the same kind of support throughout, and we've had the same kind of patience and the trust throughout, versus what I heard from other folks. It's super important, one, to know yourself, what kind of individual personalities are you, and then really match up your board around it. Because if you have two counterpart personalities, it's never a great idea for the company, and 90% of the time doesn't work.
I think founders, when they are constructing their cap table, there is scope for a lot more diligence, reverse diligence. And, we have been part of the process. In the moment, it always feels like, that there are not many options, so let me just take whoever is coming. Or it may feel like, that it's consuming too much time and I don't want to do this, so let me just take the first one who's coming in. It's a very, very long relationship, as we have been discussing. I think that mindset needs to change. We need to talk more about it. It's very easy to do reverse diligence. You don't need to, go through investors. You can just reach out to founders. And in our experience, founders are very willing to speak about their experiences, good and bad, with investors. They can easily explain the strengths and weaknesses. And that aspect, I think, is not paid enough attention. So that should be done. And then the second on the same line is, constructing the cap table over time, right? You have one type of investor earlier. You should really think strategically about, who you are bringing on, because that can be a real superpower for you, right? And I sometimes have this feeling that, not enough thought is going over there. And as I said, directionally, I see that changing, but that's our biggest advice to founders, that think strategically.
Yeah.